From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
Well, good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce. This is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, betting on the internet. If the federal government approves the multi-billion-dollar business of internet poker, how will it be regulated and controlled? And what would it mean to Nevada? My guest today is Nevada U.S. Congresswoman Shelley Berkley and our very special guest, Miss Jan Jones, the Vice President of Caesars Entertainment. Thanks, both of you, for being here.
Our pleasure.
Late last summer, state gaming authorities released proposed regulations for internet poker that would be implemented if the Congress votes to legalize it. And today on Eye on Washington, we'll get Ms. Jones' take on the industry's efforts to establish standards needed to give players confidence in the game. And we'll also talk about gaming economic news, as well as tell you about my guest's partnership aimed at strengthening the gaming industry. As we're taping this show, a public regulatory workshop was preparing to gather to offer amendments and revisions to those recently proposed regulations governing internet poker. The proposals, covering technology, audits, record keeping, and how customers enroll, oversight of internal controls by online gaming companies, how to discipline those that violate the rules, among other issues. And last December, Nevada U.S. Senator Harry Reid attempted and failed to get an internet poker legalizing bill through Congress, and it is up in the air whether another bill will be pushed before or after the 2012 election. But state gaming authorities want regulations set. Governor Sandoval approved an assembly bill calling for the rules, and Nevada Gaming Control Board Chairman Mark Lipparelli said in a statement about the proposal, quote, Nevada will establish high standards, giving players as much confidence as possible in the entities and technologies that might eventually gain approval. And we got a lot to cover today, ladies, but I want to take just a moment first to tell you that this fall, the American Gaming Association is going to make the recipient of its 2011 Lifetime Achievement Award for Gaming Communications to Jan Jones. And Congresswoman, she won't blow her own horn. She won't blow her own horn, so take a couple seconds.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing.
I've known Jan for a number of years and have watched her work on behalf of Caesars Entertainment and the entire gaming industry. Not only is this award well justified and deserved, I can't think of anybody that deserves it more. She does a remarkable job here on Capitol Hill, but throughout the United States and indeed throughout the world, not only promoting gaming, but explaining the importance of gaming, not only to the economy, but to the various communities and nations at large. So she, I'm very proud of her and very deserving.
Let's give her a chance to show us that a communications skill now. About a decade ago, there was about $1.2 billion of the nearly $6 billion spent on gambling was via the internet. Its popularity, as you know, has grown exponentially, and it seems to be a matter of when, not whether, the federal government's going to legalize it. So where are we, and what are the focuses and concerns of Caesars and other gaming properties?
Our focus is that the Unlawful Internet Gaming Act was passed in 2006, and it has turned out to be flawed legislation because it is unclear what it prohibits, and there are no enforcement mechanisms to really close down illegal sites that are operating throughout the world. What that leaves is 16 million Americans who are playing online legally, but they have no enforcement. There's no consumer protections. There's nothing to keep underage children off the internet, money laundering. So we've created this Wild West environment that is being totally run by foreign entities, not to mention the close to 60,000 jobs that it would create if you regulated it, you put in law enforcement, and you brought it back to the U.S. where it should be.
Congresswoman, you've been here on the Hill since the late 90s, and you've really lived through all the debates. When I say debates, the concerns over the money laundering through online casinos, how to handle banking transaction by online sites, and so much more regarding what internet gambling should look like.
Look, in the 2006 port security bill that outlawed internet poker, online internet poker, was just a very important piece of legislation that had a very bad component in it. And, of course, I argued on the floor of the House that banning internet poker had absolutely nothing to do with port security, yet in the final analysis, everybody voted for the bill because port security was very important. Unringing that bell has been very, very difficult. I am convinced that we will pass a bill to legalize online poker where we can regulate it, tax it, and make sure that the people in the United States of America, adults, people that are 21 years of age and older, federal government has absolutely no business in telling them what they can and cannot do in the privacy of their own home on their computer. And if they choose a recreational activity, a game of skill like poker, they want to play on their computers in the privacy of their own home, they have every right to do that as an American citizen. I believe it is not only do we have the software that is capable of protecting underage play, but we also can identify problem gamblers and keep them out of the games as well. It will have a taxing component, which is very, very helpful now because of the difficulties we're having in the economy. And even more important for the state of Nevada, we're going to create jobs.
The other thing that's to be understood is that this will actually restrict the gambling that's going on online. It will allow online poker, but it will give the enforcement to shut down the sports betting, to shut down the casino games. So for those that are worried that it's an expansion, it's actually a retraction.
Very quickly, if we're out of time in this segment, Ms. Jones, what's ahead?
I think that we really need to focus on doing the right thing here. That it's about regulation, it's about enforcement, it's about American jobs, and it's about, for the first time in U.S. history, customers can play online legally, but American companies can't provide the service. Only foreign companies can.
Right.
That's wrong.
That's extremely dangerous.
Okay. Thanks, ladies. And when we come back, when I say green in casinos, not talking about money. Stay with us.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Brought to you by the National Mining Association, the Frias Companies, Caesars Entertainment, NV Energy, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, Western Lithium Corporation, and Skyline Restaurant and Casino.
America's minerals have made us a nation of self-reliant dreamers, shaping our world and the endless ways we enjoy it. But red tape often forces us to import more than half the minerals we depend on. Minerals we already have. We don't import our dreams. Shouldn't that go for our minerals, too? The National Mining Association. Learn more at nma.org.
You already watch Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, Nevada's only statewide program produced in Washington, D.C. But for even more news from Capitol Hill that affects you, your family, and your business, you need to read Nevada's Washington Watch, our online newsletter. In-depth reporting on federal efforts that impact you. Our exclusive Inside the Beltway column, putting a microscope on Nevada's congressional delegation. Guest editorials about what Nevada needs from the Hill. Nevada's Washington Watch, your watch on Washington. Subscribe today at nevadaswashingtonwatch.com.
Heads we go, tails we stay. A coin flip. That's how it all began for what is now Nevada's largest transportation provider. Charlie Frias, with a can-do spirit and support of his loving wife Phyllis, bought ABC Union Cab in 1966. They then parlayed 5 cabs into a fleet of nearly 1,000. And today, Frias has over 2,000 employees and was recently voted Las Vegas's best company to work for. Frias, safe, reliable, simply the best.
How will new energy technology make our lives better? Will geothermal, wind, and solar energy be a bigger part of our future? Yes. And soon it will all be in our backyard. Learn more at nvenergy.com.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of some gaming issues and what my guests are doing to keep Nevada's top industry strong. And my guests today are Nevada U.S. Congresswoman Shelley Berkley and our special guest, Jan Jones, the Vice President of Caesars Entertainment. Now, if I say gaming and green in the same sentence, I bet you think I'm talking about winning a lot of green in those casinos. So you might be surprised to learn I'm talking about green energy. Well, we've told you many times on Eye on Washington of our Congresswoman Berkley's strong push for all things alternative and how our delegations work to make Nevada this nation's renewable energy epicenter. But when you think solar, wind, geothermal, hydrocarbon, biomass, well, your next word's not going to be gaming, but maybe it should be. My guest, Ms. Jones, told Eye on Washington during a previous appearance about just some of the many ways that Caesars is a hotel casino leader in the green revolution. During that show, she told us how Caesars has made the World Series of Poker the first climate-friendly poker tournament, and how the corporation earned the EPA Environmental Quality Award, and about their commitment to carbon reduction and their carbon offsets program. Well, here's the latest. Last summer, Caesars again sponsored the Big Green Bus Tour across America. It's a Greyhound bus converted to run on recycled waste vegetable oil that traveled the nation to push the importance of sustainability. 12,000 miles, 32 states, all to let the public witness a converted alternative fuels vehicle. Related trivia for you now. Every year, Caesars recycles 640,000 gallons of oil from its resort and casino restaurants around the globe, and 123,000 gallons of that directly from the Las Vegas Strip. Ms. Jones, I read that veggie oil is actually recycled at your resorts and removed and repurposed for use in biodiesel and other products.
That's correct. That runs our minibuses and allows us to really speak to both our employees and our customers about the important.
And you know, it's just one more example of the continued big alternative energy and environmental efforts that you and some other casinos are making.
It's amazing. And how much the employees and the workforce and our customers rally around this initiative. Just most recently, we cut our water consumption in our laundries in Las Vegas by over 70 million gallons a year. That's a lot of water in a state that's hungry for water.
Congresswoman, you are the big advocate for alternative energy. I'm sure you're thrilled with this. You know, you've been on this show so many times to talk about renewable and how Nevada's leading the way in so many areas. So hearing the top industry being so involved in this.
Actually, it's remarkable. Harrah's, of course, Caesars Entertainment is a wonderful leader of the industry, but the entire industry is involved in renewables. You know, I've said many times on this show that Nevada should be and can be the epicenter for renewable energy. We have an abundance of geothermal and wind and solar, sun. The fact that our major industry that heretofore has used a lot of energy has taken the necessary steps to conserve energy and to be an example to other businesses, not only in our community and our state, but throughout the United States, I think is a very, very big step for all of us. And by setting the example, doing what, you know, you can talk the talk, but often don't walk the walk. This industry, particularly Caesars, is not only talking the talk, they're walking the walk, and have done a remarkable job by changing all the light bulbs in the casinos. They are conserving an extraordinary amount of energy, as Jan said, with the water, millions of gallons of water in a very, very thirsty environment. It's a good example to set for all of us.
You know, I want to just mention one more. You guys, you made a EPA-approved commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 10% in absolute numbers by 2013. That's quite a commitment. We've
reduced our carbon footprint by 106,000, which is the equivalent of 122,000 round-trip flights from Las Vegas to New York.
Do you still say that green's the new black when it comes to jobs in Nevada?
It is indeed. I've often said that we can create an entire economy based on green jobs, and the gaming industry is leading the way.
Okay. When we come back, we're going to talk to you about the partnership between the Congresswoman and Ms. Jones to keep the industry strengthened here on the Hill. It's right after this.
Every day, thousands of people in northern Nevada don't get enough to eat. 1 out of 5 children in northern Nevada go to bed hungry every night. But you can do something about it. Catholic Community Services of Northern Nevada has been providing help and creating hope in our community for more than 65 years. By donating food, time, or money, you can make a difference in a hungry person's life. When you make your generous donation to St. Vincent's Dining Room and St. Vincent's Food Pantry, you're helping to fight the scourge of hunger in northern Nevada. In these tough economic times, now more than ever, we need to help those less fortunate. To find out how you can donate to St. Vincent's Dining Room and St. Vincent's Food Pantry, call, click, or stop by, and together we can end hunger in northern Nevada.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
You already watch Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, Nevada's only statewide program produced in Washington, D.C. But for even more news from Capitol Hill that affects you, your family, and your business, you need to read Nevada's Washington Watch, our online newsletter. In-depth reporting on federal efforts that impact you. Our exclusive Inside the Beltway column, putting a microscope on Nevada's congressional delegation. Guest editorials about what Nevada needs from the Hill. Nevada's Washington Watch, your watch on Washington. Subscribe today at nevadaswashingtonwatch.com.
Heads we go, tails we stay. A coin flip. That's how it all began for what is now Nevada's largest transportation provider. Charlie Frias, with a can-do spirit and support of his loving wife Phyllis, bought ABC Union Cab in 1966. They then parlayed 5 cabs into a fleet of nearly 1,000. And today, Frias has over 2,000 employees and was recently voted Las Vegas's best company to work for. Frias, safe, reliable, simply the best.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of a potpourri of gaming issues big on the Hill and in the state. We've been visiting with Nevada U.S. Congresswoman Shelley Berkley and our special guest, Jan Jones of Caesars Entertainment. I hope it's clear to you at this point in today's program that a top priority of our Congresswoman and the top priority of my special guest, Jan Jones, is looking out for the gaming industry. Any longtime viewer or listener of Eye on Washington has heard of the Berkley Jones team. They've appeared together here a good half dozen times. And beyond this show, they have quite the partnership for gaming both here and on the Hill and out in the state. And that partnership is all about letting folks know, from congressional members to anyone who might be thinking of heading to the state's casinos, about the importance of the industry to Nevada and to this nation. Much of that education originates in 2 of the caucuses on which our Congresswoman Berkley serves, the Gaming Caucus, which she co-chairs, and the Travel and Tourism Caucus. The Gaming Caucus works to educate fellow lawmakers on the importance of the gaming industry to the economy and to the thousands of people it employs. The Travel and Tourism Caucus advocates for a strong tourism industry, which obviously affects tourist centers like Nevada, but also is important to every state in the union. And you know, both caucuses matter greatly to Nevada and to our guests, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. This gives me an opportunity to develop relationships with other congresspeople that might have gaming in their district, might have gaming in their state, or might just be interested in gaming issues, to work with me and coordinate with me so that we're better educated. And when issues come up that affect the gaming industry or tour and travel, which is very important to the state of Nevada, that we are prepared and we are ready to spring into action should the need arise.
You know, Ms. Jones, maybe this wouldn't be the first thing people think about, but when you think about strengthening Nevada's top industry, In a hurting economy, you're also talking about strengthening and maintaining jobs, aren't you?
Of course you are. And people, particularly in Washington, too often there's a knee-jerk reaction to penalize states with gaming. We've seen it in the Go Zone legislation and other things. That impacts. There are more people employed by the United States gaming industry than in the entire auto manufacturing industry. And we don't come to Washington asking for anything other than fair treatment. That's a large number of jobs that elected officials need to be aware are dependent on their being reasonable, realistic, and fair in the legislation they consider and pass.
When you go about your day as the co-chairman of the chairwoman of the gaming caucus, one of the leaders on the tourism and travel caucus, and when you're in town to help strengthen the industry as well, what are some of the things? I understand you don't need to lobby and advocate as hard for members that have gaming in their states. What do you say to drive home the point to people in other states who don't have gaming or don't think they're affected by the industry?
A lot of people don't realize how important the tourism industry is to the economy of the United States of America. It is the 6th largest industry in our nation. And when you explain this to people and they understand that the gaming industry, the tourism industry is an industry like any other in this country, as unique as it is, but it creates jobs, it helps with every state's tax base, and it's an important part of our economy. It's worth protecting and defending and not discriminating against. And that's what we work on a daily basis to make sure that people fully appreciate the impact of these tourism dollars on their particular state. And I'll give you an example, and I know we're working on this now, visas, making it, we want to attract people to the United States to enjoy our entertainment, our wholesome family entertainment, and we need to ensure that they can come to this country and be welcome here and still protect the national security of the United States of America.
Ms. Jones, you're here frequently in Washington. Other than having fun on the Eye on Washington show, tell me a typical day on the Hill.
I spend most of my time meeting with members and other staff, both educating about the industry that I'm very proud to be a part of, certainly encouraging them to look at issues that matter to us, whether they're economic incentives, job issues, issues like online poker. Much of it's education. And having them understand, if you can form that relationship, there's some kind of gambling within 200 miles of every major city in America.
Thanks, ladies. We're going to have our final moments together on Eye on Washington right after this.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
America's minerals have made us a nation of self-reliant dreamers, shaping our world and the endless ways we enjoy it. But red tape often forces us to import more than half the minerals we depend on. Minerals we already have. We don't import our dreams. Shouldn't that go for our minerals, too? The National Mining Association. Learn more at nma.org.
You already watch Eye on Washington with Marilee, Joyce, Nevada's only statewide program produced in Washington, D.C. But for even more news from Capitol Hill that affects you, your family, and your business, you need to read Nevada's Washington Watch, our online newsletter. In-depth reporting on federal efforts that impact you. Our exclusive Inside the Beltway column, putting a microscope on Nevada's congressional delegation. Guest editorials about what Nevada needs from the Hill. Nevada's Washington Watch, your watch on Washington. Subscribe today at nevadaswashingtonwatch.com.
Built on a fleet of just 5 cabs bought in 1966 by founder Charlie Frias, Frias Transportation is now Nevada's largest transportation provider. Today, Frias has a fleet of nearly 1,000 vehicles and more than 2,000 employees. As an industry and community leader, Frias continues to create the future of transportation technology and management and actively supports the community. continuing the legacy of quality service in the Las Vegas Valley. Simply the best. Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And we are back with our closing segment of today's Eye on Washington. We're going to take just a moment, a short segment, to talk about the economy. Officials have been making happy statements, saying there's finally some good news regarding visitor counts, hotel occupancy, room rates being up. Nevada gaming revenues were up in late spring by 16%, which is great, but Washoe County is not feeling the love. Gaming tax collections there dropped 6.6% and Laughlin off 10.6%. So good overall, but a ways to go.
We have a long ways to go. Nevada has the highest unemployment rate in the country and the highest mortgage foreclosure rate.
But how about gaming?
Gaming is beginning to stabilize, but we really need the economy to stabilize because our visitors, our conventions, our meetings, if they become nervous and decide they're not going to spend their money, we could turn in a different direction very quickly.
Our state is dependent on people coming and spending their disposable income in Nevada. It's important that the economy of the United States improves so that people will feel confident, they'll feel that they have job security, they'll have disposable income, then they'll be coming back to Las Vegas. So we've got a ways to go. We're optimistic, but I wouldn't want to mislead anyone and suggest that things are rosy right now. They're not. We have a ways to go, have to stabilize, and then once it's stabilized for a period of time, then people will be rehired. But until there's the security and the stability and the certainty, we're still going to have some tough times ahead.
Well, hopefully the two of you can keep working together.
We're going to do our best, that's for
strengthening
sure.
the state. Thanks both of you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Marilee.
That does wrap up this week's Eye on Washington. Please join us next time for more federal news that matters to you in Nevada. And for more news anytime, check out our website, joycecommunications.com. Thanks for joining us on Eye on Washington. I'm Marilee, Joyce in Washington, D.C. Good day.